everybody. Welcome to this next painting tutorial. I am going to teach you how to paint flowers with watercolor. A lot of times people hate watercolor. I'm an art teacher, and my high school students, when we get to the watercolor unit, they get so nervous, and I can hear them moaning and groaning, and they absolutely hate it. I finally asked them, I said, why do you guys hate watercolor so much? They said, because Mrs. Olds, the water, it flows all over the place, and then the colors, they start bleeding like this, and I can't stop it. I don't know what to do, and they freak out. So I think that's a common problem that a lot of people have. So if you follow along with me, I can show you how to paint with watercolors and be very successful. So these are techniques that I'm going to teach you to achieve something like this. This is just inspired by some of my blue irises that I had in the spring. So let's just use this as the example piece. We're going to create something very similar to this. You can do this. If you have no painting experience, but it's on your bucket list and you've always wanted to learn how to do it, follow me. You can do this, I promise. All you need is to get some of these round brushes with the tip. I have 2 different sizes. And then you don't even have to get an expensive watercolor set. Go to Hobby Lobby and get a cheap one if you want. And then get some small, I'm literally using a pad, you guys. This is what I'm using right here. Something simple like this, okay? Get a container with water and boom. Replay this video and just follow along and you will do great. Okay, we're gonna start very lightly, not hard at all, guys. Just draw some of your petals. We're just gonna do, 3 different petals. I'm very lightly touching the paper. I don't want these to be dark at all. I'm gonna do a stem right down here, okay? I remember teaching elementary, everybody. Oh my gosh, those elementary kids, they would draw so hard on the paper. Oh, it made me cringe. Anyway, it's okay. It's okay, I'm not gonna worry about that. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take your water, your paintbrush, dip it in the water, and you're gonna start with 1 petal at a time. We're gonna wet this petal down first. Okay, this is how light it is. You can barely see those marks, right? Because I really, watercolor's transparent, guys. And you really do not want, I'm just wetting this down right now. You really do not want your pencil mark shining through. Otherwise, you have to go in with deep dark colors. And what if that wasn't your plan, okay? So the first thing I am doing is very carefully staying in my lines, and I am working on 1 petal at a time. I'm wetting this petal down first, okay? You can see in the light where it's shiny, and that'll be able to tell you if your petal is completely covered or saturated with water or not. If you get out of the lines, it's okay. Just try not to. Looks better if you don't. Okay, that's the first step. So this petal is wet down and ready to go. Okay, so while I'm talking, I'm just adding more water just to kind of make sure I have enough in there. So I'm gonna start by taking some blue. I'm gonna get some more water. Just a light, very light blue, okay? A lot of water means it's going to be lighter, and I'm just gonna tap and just kind of get that blue in there, okay? Try to stay in your lines if you possibly can. It just, it will look nicer if you can do that. Then I'm gonna pull just a little bit of purple, and I'm just going to kind of add that purple in there, okay? Like this. So I've got a little bit of blue, a little bit of purple, maybe add a little bit more blue around here. And just kind of get that background color going to start with. That's my first step, okay? That's what it looks like right here, okay? Okay, here is the tricky part. At least this is the part where, some people think is tricky, okay? See this edge right here where I've got a pool of water? I'm gonna intentionally just kind of let the water flow that way, okay? So I'm gonna take some a little combination of like blue and purple on the tip of my brush. And I'm just gonna touch that color. You see what I'm doing? I'm touching that color in there, watch. And what's happening is that color is kind of saturating that edge right there. And it's pooling up a little bit. And it's giving me that dark edge right there, okay? And I'm just dabbing it in. That's all I'm doing. Okay, that's the first step. Okay, now let me show you something. It's still wet. I'm just gonna let that color sit. I'm gonna take just this is just a tissue right here. Just take a tissue and just do a dab right here. This is an area right here that I want to kind of pop out. See what I did? I just kind of pulled some of that color out. Before it sits long enough on the watercolor paper and actually gets absorbed and becomes permanent in there, you need to play with it, you know, a little bit. And I just took that out. I can also achieve that same effect by taking a clean brush with clean water, and I can kind of pull that color out like this. And that's another way to do the pulling. That's one technique that I teach my students, is pulling, and it's very effective. Okay, before I get too far along, I want to show you something else. It's really cool, you guys. Take a tissue and really go back in and blot right here, just that middle section, and you're going to get that dry, okay? So now I've got a dry area next to a wet area, okay? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my paintbrush and just get a little bit of that water off. Now I'm just going to do like a little bit of purpley blue-ish color. Now watch, you guys. I am going to add that color right here, okay? I'm going to add that color. I'm going to turn it like this so you can see what's going on. I'm going to turn it the opposite way. I'm going to add it right here. And what's happening is this color, it's going to pool up to that area. See what's happening? So is that cool or what? So I can just keep on going. Like if I want a deeper, darker color in here and a deeper, darker stopping point, I can do this. And look at that. All of these, like these little lines right here that are just naturally occurring because of the pooling up and the dry and the wet are going to benefit your flower design. They're going to make it look more realistic. So cool, right? Okay, so that's the first thing that we're going to do. We're going to move on to the next step. Okay, so now what I think I'm going to do is just come in the tip of my brush. I touched it into some purple, and I'm going to hold this closer so you can see what I'm doing. I am just going to do a fine line right here to accentuate this line right here. Some of this area is a little bit damp and some is dry. So the beauty of this, doing this at the right time, is that some of it is going to stay put and some of it's going to blend and bleed, which is going to make it beautiful. Okay, can you see what's going on there? That is giving you a really cool effect. Okay, when you're doing watercolor paintings, you have windows of opportunity sometimes, okay? I can see a window of opportunity that I'm going to show you. This area right here is still a little bit wet, so I am going to touch this. I hope I didn't miss my window of opportunity, but it's almost, I think it's there a little bit. I'm touching this dark color right here, and I'm getting a teeny tiny bit of running. Do you see that? Little tiny lines running in here. I might have missed the opportunity by a little bit, but it's happening slightly. Okay, so you can definitely go in and do that quickly if you see an area that is a little bit wet. wet that down. So now I'm just going to take a tiny bit of color like I did before. Stay in your line, just give it a soft color, maybe a little bit. You can tell that the colors are not flowing as well. So I am just gonna add a little bit more water there. You can see this running. It's okay, it's gonna stop. It's gonna stop down in there because that's an opportunity right here for this bottom section to be dark. Okay, so just get your color blotted in there first. There's an area I need to fix right here. Give it a couple different, here's a blue in there, different shades. There, so you get some good blending color. Okay, so quickly, before it dries, take some deep dark color on the tip of your brush. Find an edge, doesn't have to be this edge, but wherever. Find an edge and just let that, drop that color in. Just drop it in and watch it flow. Do you see that happening? Isn't that beautiful? Just drop it in. You can add another shade to it if you want. I just dropped a little blue in there too, just so you have some variation. There. Okay, that's pretty. Okay, now let me show you how to do like an overlapping. I'm gonna just come in. Since this is drying right here, I'm gonna go in, and if I want portion of that petal flopped, kind of flopped over, you guys, and overlapping this area, this is what I can do. I'm gonna cover it with one color, like this, okay? And then I'm gonna add some more right here. And I'm gonna let it drop. You see that? And it's gonna all pool up down here where it's dry, okay? Then it's gonna give the appearance of this petal kind of flopping over, and this is the underneath down here, which I can come up with another color in a little bit whenever it dries. Okay, let me show you what not to do. I see students do this all the time. They do this. They wash back and forth with their brush. Okay? That is not going to, that's just pushing it from corner to corner. What you need to do, watch me, is dab, 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 like this, like that, and then don't touch it, okay? Otherwise, you're gonna get rid of this effect. It won't actually pool for you. So think of dabbing instead of brushing sideways. Then what I'm gonna do is, let's pretend like the sun is, you know, shining on this area right here. I'm just gonna pull. So like, get some tissue, and I'm just gonna like pull a little bit of that out. Okay, there, that gives it a three-dimensional look, doesn't it? Kind of looks like it's popping out a little bit. Okay, so you can definitely add dimension that way. So I rinsed it out with good clean water. It's dry down here. I definitely want some pooling down here. So what I have to do is just re-wet it. It's okay if it dries. I mean, you know, we've been messing around with the top area so long. So let's just re-wet the whole thing. Don't stop your water like right here, or else you might end up with a funky pool. Not pool, sorry. I'm gonna try not to touch that right there. I'm going real close to it, but not touching it. So re-wet the whole thing, and then I'm gonna go ahead and select a color that is going to drip. I'm gonna get that blue in there and just let it start dripping down to the bottom or wherever it's gonna pool, and then maybe start adding a couple other colors. This is like a variegated wash, a 2-color variegated wash. Now that it's wet, let's select, gosh, I just mix, I just do whatever, you guys, I'm sorry. I'm just going to add, you know, you gotta go with the dark, sorry. I'm just gonna do my dabbing. Remember, you don't wanna stroke back and forth. You just wanna do the dabby thing. I'm just gonna dab this edge right here and see what happens, okay? Oh, that's kinda cool, that's kinda cool. And then what I can do is hold it like this and let it start pooling. Not pooling, but running. Sorry, I meant to say running. I don't want to confuse you guys. So let it start running, let gravity work. Now that this area is kind of finished, I can turn it and let gravity work on this other area. I can see, gosh, you guys, I can see so many cool things we can do. I could just go on and on. Okay, before this dries, remember, window of opportunity. This is drying, this is not. So I'm just gonna throw some color. I'm gonna throw some color in here because I can see my window of opportunity for this right here to give it some sort of little detail, shall we say, kind of like what we did up here. Okay, so it's happening. It's kind of drier right there, and boom, it's gonna pool. So I can still keep working. I can definitely work on like 2 hours. I have something else to show you right here too. I can't wait to show you this right here. So I'll show you that in a second, but I'm just gonna keep on dabbing a little bit of color right here to get that edge refined a little bit. And I'm just gonna hold it like this until that pooling stops. Maybe blow on it for a couple minutes. Okay, so what I wanna show you now is so cool. The grain, okay, your watercolor paper has a texture to it. The grain runs this way. You can see it. So look and see what way your grain is running. Since my grain is running up and down this way, oh my word, I can see, like, I'm just getting water. I'm gonna add water. This is gonna be pretty, you guys. So I'm just gonna add water right there before, I mean, it's already got water, but I'm just gonna add a little bit more. And I'm just gonna get a little bit of blue and purple, and I'm just gonna dab here. I want the water, I'm holding my paper up. Now, if you are not holding your paper up like I am, hold it up while you're doing this. I'm doing it for the flow and also because I'm showing you how to do this. So anyway, just dab it in like this and watch and see what happens. So see what's happening? I'm just going back in. See what happened to mine? I have like all these really dark areas. I'm just gonna go back in. And do you see how that color is just like pooling in those little crevices? Look at how cool that looks. You could even go back in. I can see, gosh, I think I'm gonna go back in later and do it right here, underneath here. That way it looks like there's veins inside that petal, okay? Not really veins, but like that texture inside there to make it look realistic. But see how cool that is? So look at your watercolor paper and see which way those grains are running and try that on one of the petals and just hold it like this and just see what happens. So cool. This is dry. There's a teeny tiny corner right there that might not be, but I think it's good enough. I'm gonna get some fresh water. I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna go right up to that, but don't be real gentle, you guys. Don't go crazy. And I'm just gonna kind of go around here. Go all the way down, adding water all the way to here. I'm gonna go, I think I'm just gonna go on top of this a little bit right here, guys. Okay? So then, what I'm gonna do, just make sure you've got enough. Yeah, that's cool. Okay. Then, add your dark color. So, I think I'm actually gonna go with like a purple and a little bit of black. The brush is saturated with that dark purple, and then I added a little bit of black to it. And I'm going to just pop that color in right here. Dab it in. Remember, oh, it's not dark enough. Well, I don't know. It might be. Let me just go first. Remember, dab, don't brush, don't do this. Don't go back and forth, you guys. Just dab, 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 dab. Ooh, that's pretty. Now, I went close. I didn't cover all of it. I went all the way up and just left a fine little white line right there. It's actually pretty, you guys. I think I'm just gonna go with it. I was gonna add more, but I think this is perfect. there is a little white line that I'm liking right there. I'm just gonna keep it. I think it's really pretty. Okay, and I'm just gonna hold it like this and blow on it. And then since I have black on it, I'm just gonna add some black over here to give this area a little bit more dimension because I noticed that it looked funny. After you add that dark color, I don't know, I always think it's important to just go back in one more time before it dries, or let it sit for a minute or two, you know, and then just go back in with one more color combo. See how much prettier that looks when you have like a variation of colors, a little bit of dark, a little bit of light, and then those two colors mixed together. So go back in and do some of that. And remember to pay attention to the texture in your watercolor paper. It's flowing this way. That's why I opted to go ahead and do that sort of effect up there like I did on the other side. Don't forget to get a tissue and do some pulling out, just a little bit in the middle, maybe a little bit of pulling out. Not pooling, I'm sorry, I keep saying pooling. Pulling out. You're taking the color out. So you want to do that so you get a little bit of that, the light shining on the petal, and the three-dimensional effect looks so much better. So I think I'm going to go in, definitely maybe in here, add some darks in here next. You painted a flower. I hope you stuck with me the whole time and went step by step. And if yours doesn't look exactly like mine, then that's okay. But I hope that you were able to use these techniques to make it a successful looking flower, something that you can put up in your house and frame. Go get a cute little frame for it and put it in your bathroom. Or maybe dabble around with some other colors, practice a little bit, and send me some of your pictures that you painted. I would love to see what you were able to accomplish. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again next time.